What a beautiful life.
All that I've got is all that I need. I got you, baby, you got me. What more could I ask for? Beautiful life. Beautiful life. Beautiful life. We got beautiful life. I got a beautiful life. Beautiful life. Listen, I woke up this morning, y'all. The sun was shining oh so brightly. I thought about how good this life is. Back in the day, it wasn't always like this. I think about the things we done been through. I think about the place that I come from. It wasn't always easy, so every day I'm thanking God for the beautiful people everywhere I go. I just need to see your smiling faces at my show, and when you're feeling real love from the family.
Welcome. This is the Real Charlemagne. Thank you guys for coming in, joining us on this Saturday afternoon. Hey, today we got a hot show for you guys. Got some fellas I know in a few years. I got a lot of education in this room, a lot of master's degrees, a lot of street experience, personal experience. So you guys, you don't want to miss this. First off, I want to give a shout out to my mom. Today her birthday. She's still 38, but it's neither here nor there. I just want to give her a shout out. Also, support her business, that'sgoodchocolate.com. And you can reach her at That's Good Chocolate on Instagram, Facebook, and I think she's on Twitter as well. Also, today I want to give a shout out to Mr. Anthony Dupree with Executive Black Car Service. You can reach him at executiveblackcarservice.com for your transportation needs. He's a good dude, and that's services with an S on the end. Good dude, good transportation. He got some nice rides over there, so definitely reach out to him. Without further ado, I'm the Real Charlemagne. Today, I got Pastor Tremayne Forbes. I got Mr. Tony Craddock. I got Mr. Jean Allen. GQ. John Q. I'm sorry, John Q. Hey, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the pastor first. Mr. Tremayne, introduce yourself, brother.
Hey, my name is Pastor Tremayne Forbes. I pastor Kingdom of Heaven Ministries in Greenville, North Carolina. I currently work as a substance abuse counselor. For years, I've worked in different capacities in mental health, whether it been the mental health spectrum, the substance abuse spectrum. I even worked in the DD spectrum of mental health. So for those that do know those different areas, and I'm just glad to be here with you, brother.
Got you. All right, next, Mr. Tony Craddock. Hey, these boys.
How's everybody doing today?
Names. Mr. Tony, introduce yourself, man.
How's everybody doing today? My name is Tony Craddock. I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor. I'm out of the Wake County, Raleigh area. I have a lot of experience of the last 20 years working in the mental health field and DD services as well. I specialize in working with young people, mentoring African-American youth, as well as doing some community service and work in connecting families with resources and services. I'm currently a social worker within local government, but I have a gamut of experience, and I look forward to being a part of this conversation today. Thank you, the Real Charlemagne.
Appreciate that, brother. Last but not least, he has a show as well. Mr. Jean Allen, introduce yourself, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for introducing me and welcoming me to the show. I'm Jean Allen, entrepreneur. Also, I've worked in some mental health roles as well. Primarily, I've been in banking, and I've been the last 10 to 15 years working with a lot of nonprofit organizations through banking and through volunteerism. So I enjoy being an entrepreneur and also working to find ways to help nonprofits, which in effect help the youth as well.
Thank you, brother. Hey, people. Hey, you got a lot of years of experience on this call right today. I didn't realize that till the brothers started talking. I was like, oh man, they got all these letters behind their name. So this is going to be in-depth conversation. Today, we're going to topic of discussion, toxic masculinity. basically, you know, in the media, social media platforms, had a lot going on with Mr. Jaxn and his spouse, with the cheating. Then Mr. Franklin and his family situation, with the use of language with his child, his grown child, I must say, but it's just the language he used with his child. First of all, I just want, you guys just chime in, as you need. But this is what I grasped from listening at some of the comments and things. I haven't watched all the videos and everything that happened, but the comments were basically these people getting street credit and things of that nature from being toxic in a sense. And it's like, how do we combat that, in our communities, that behavior is accepted versus, us fellas that try to do the right thing and move in the right genres, but then, just for them to step out of character, they get street credit. How do you guys, see that and view that? All at once. Go ahead, Tremayne.
Okay. Well, my thought process is, number one, I do think that Kirk should have emulated Christ, since he represents Christ. That's how he makes his living. He's been doing this for years. Matter of fact, he's moved from just out of like someone that's a brand new artist into legacy mode. Anytime when you can go over to South Africa and you're part of the celebration for the life of Nelson Mandela, you are considered in different areas of the culture in America and around the world as someone who represents the Lord. That just really was bad. But number two, because he didn't do it thinking that he was on an open platform. But number two is that as a father, I wouldn't want to do anything that discourages my son. I followed the story a little bit, and I won't get too long into it. I followed the story a little bit, and they say that his son hasn't been to his home since he was 18 years old, since that Jet magazine cover. The son is 33 years old, and he hadn't talked to his son in 5 years.
Wow.
And so, to me, I think that what we were seeing, and then he had a best friend that's supposed to have been on the call that was laughing and it was just giggling it up while he cursed out his son.
Right.
So I think that was just horrible, all types of ways. But in the other spectrum, I think the son shouldn't have disrespected his father, whatever way, because we didn't get a chance to see that part or hear that part. So I don't think it's good that the son disrespected the father too.
Right. Yeah. What do you think on that, Mr. Craddock?
Well, like the pastor said, I think he should have definitely taken a different approach in speaking with his son. The family dynamics, as Pastor Forbes and I were speaking earlier, it's a vicious cycle. Sometimes you got to look at the dynamics or the relationship that the father had with the grandfather and what he passes along to his son. Right. So when you know better, you do better. And I'm sure Kirk Franklin knows how to communicate, because I mean he's a great communicator. But then again, behind closed doors, I mean, what do we really see about a person behind closed doors? Exactly. So I think that they definitely have some things to work out. I think I was concerned about the intent of the young man recording his father. Exactly. What was the intent of that? Was that to shed a positive light on their relationship, or was that a intent to rebuild their relationship, or right. what was the outcome of the expected outcome of that, the intent of that? But they definitely have some work to do, and I think they need to sit down. Of course, Kirk apologized for his actions, but that's a start. But they definitely need to sit down and have as we say in our community, a come to Jesus meeting, right? So they can clear the air and solidify their relationship and just see if they can get some things straight for the two of them.
Right. Before I come to you, Jean, I got one thing to say. Like with me personally, it's like I have 6 kids, man. Kids gonna pull you out of your character. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, like I said, you know, if you feeling it's an intimate conversation between you and your kid, and it's like, you know, things gonna get some said that shouldn't be aired in the, you know, what they so-called say the dirty laundry. You know, I think that allowed him to show his human side, because, you know, some people was taking shots at him as far as his faith and things of that nature. I said, but if anything, that should allow you to show, even though you have faith, you still are a human being. You still are a person. You still have feelings. You know, I'm not saying that it was right or wrong. Like I said, that's their relationship, you know, in their family dynamics. But like I said, it's a lot more to it than, like I said, than we know, you know. And Jean, you just take your stand on it. How you feel about that situation?
I like what you all said, and I think Mr. Craddock kind of hit it on the head there. We're moving and operating in a new dynamic now. You know, growing up, there was a perception of men and what men should do, and whoever was around you as far as leadership goes, or a man that you could mimic or observe or whatever, they portrayed a certain thing. But I think today we have moved into a more toxic type of standing as men, you know, and it's acceptable. Sometimes we feel we're justified because of the way that we're looked at in the world or the way things are around us. We're justified in being a little aggressive, and we think that child rearing, you know, means that we have to be a little more aggressive. But I think overall, I think you're right. We are at a toxic stage as people, but in specifics, specifically, men are a lot more toxic today. And we have to kind of get back, put the train back on the tracks here, and start taking over what we should be doing, how we should be treating each other, being in control of those emotions and being in control of yourself. And I think that goes back to men being disconnected. You're not supposed to cry and things of that nature. You know, we got disconnected from our emotions. So now we need to reel it back in and focus on what men should do, how we should handle emotions.
Exactly. Hey, I appreciate you guys' insight on that situation. Pushing forward, Mr. Jaxn, you know, I never really, back in the day, I watched a couple of his videos here and there, you know. After a while, it became redundant with the content that he was putting out. You know, with him, you know, I guess stepping out as his woman, you know, I know that's disgrace, you know, and that's the thing, you know, as a marriage, but it's their marriage. I'm not one to judge. But it's like people were judging him and people saying, okay, your woman walking around in a bonnet, you have the right to go cheat on her. How, you know, why is that like the topic of discussion, how this woman dressed and how she looked gave him the right, you know, to go out. And I'm gonna start with Jean on this one, and you can kind of touch on that. I don't know if you know the whole situation. Like I said, I haven't watched all the videos, but like I said, just chime in on that for a little bit.
Yeah, again, we got experts that are not experts. I think sometimes people, you know, tend to follow people. We tend to, whoever gets the most likes of you sometimes, and we get ourselves in situations where we forget our position, we forget our place, you know. And I think that whole situation was, I was like, who's this guy? Why is he, you know, you were talking about credentials at the start of this call, and I'll say, what is he credentialed in? And those are the type of ways that I look at as a man to man, or person to person. You know, what are your credentials? Like, before I listen to you, or before I confront my relationship with some advice that you gave, I need that type of thing. So I just feel like, you know, we put the cart before the horse a lot of times these days, and, you know, we take advice from places and we don't look at ourselves the way we should. So that's my take on it.
How about Tremayne? How do you think about that?
Well, my thing is this: I didn't listen to him much too. I'm with you, Charlemagne. The thing that got me the most about Derrick Jaxn is it seemed like a lot of his stuff was talking down on men.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is a proverbial, you're reaping what you sow. You know, all men, you know, he kind of, to me, I see maybe 2 or 3 of his things, and it just seemed like you could look at the title and see where he was going and the person who's parent. Whenever somebody would make a mistake, if a man cheated on his wife, then you're a little boy, you ought to be this way, and don't make no sense. This woman, you ought, you know, and you know, I've sat back and heard people just sit back and they get on that toxic, you know, toxic masculinity, and you ought not, and that woman, you ought to wash her feet when she come home, kiss her feet, and buy her roses, and make sure all her needs are met. And so to me, he kind of became that love song that women love to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And he did all that, and he went from being the knight in shining armor to the fool in tinfoil. And so you had it where all these women were just kind of looking to him to advice, only to find out that this muscle bound, because he's muscle bound, and the women love him, and come to find out this dude, he cheating on his wife. Now I think in his wife, this is me talking. It's not the pastor. This is your friend. We grew up kids together.
Right.
I think the wife probably should have chose to not made herself open for an attack. Should have probably looked better, dressed more. I know, hey, it's hard to dress up when your husband cheated on you, but to come there with a bonnet on, she opened herself up with a whole bunch of shower cap jokes. Right. And women, and people say, I see why he cheated. So, but to each his own. That's what he loved. He might want somebody to look like his mama or grandmama when he get home. But they're working it out. That woman said she's working that thing out. So that's all I want to throw out. All right, hey, that woman working it out, mind your business.
Yeah. What's your take on it, Tony?
I agree with Pastor Forbes. I mean, Derrick Jaxn was telling women what they wanted to hear. So he was that knight in shining armor. He was that ideal man. So they ate it up, as my grandmother would say. They ate up whatever he was saying, and they looked to him as an authority, as a professional in that field, as Mr. Allen said. But what are his credentials? Where did he go to school? Where did he get his formal training from? I don't see that. But and then by the same token, if there's no justification if you're cheating on your spouse. I mean, I don't think there's a justification for that, even if she appears to be somewhat homely looking in the video that they made, but that's still no justification for what he did. There's still no justification for that. Yeah, and then for him to continue to, say, or his followers to say that they understand why he cheated, that's a relationship they have to work out. If they're still in it together, then they can work it out. But for him to be the guru or the person of the professional knowledge for the ladies, I'm sure they don't want to be involved with him if he's cheating on his wife.
Exactly. Yeah. And like I said, it's a tough situation, fellas. Like I said, I just wanted to touch on and bring you guys here today just to give a few points, because I know all you guys are married numerous years, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you've seen a lot, you've been through a lot, as well as myself. But it's like just getting a different viewpoint from some fellas that's in the game, put time in the game. When you look at things, you got kids, you got relationships, you look at everything from a different perspective when you got a foot in the game. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's easy to coach from the sidelines, but until you in a game playing that position, then you realize, hey, you're going to have a triple team or double team coming at you that you can't get out of. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. But I think toxic masculinity, especially in our community, sometimes has become prominent per se, because then it goes back to the old saying, that's what men do. You know what I mean? Now, is that cliche outdated to you guys, or what do you say? One of y'all can start with that.
I like to go first on that one. I think that cliche is outdated. We're definitely trying to rethink that process in a paradigm shift. That it's okay for us to be in contact with our feelings. I think Mr. Allen had mentioned before about real men don't show emotion and things of that nature. That's an antiquated or outdated way of thinking. Gotcha. There's so much mental health concerns going on in the Black community, especially among men. That stigma of that, we all are human. We all have feelings. That we need to change that toxicity, even affiliated with that. If you admit that you have feelings, you're thought less of. That's a stigma that we need to change. Right. And that's one of the things that through education and through support groups and through the communication process among men that we realize that, you know, that we need help, that we're strong, but then again, even the strongest person also needs someone to lean on. So, you know, that's a process that we're working on a daily basis to change that paradigm shift, to change that mindset of the toxic masculinity that we, for generations, thought was that this is how a man is. Well, you know, truth be told, no, that's not how a man is. And then we have to change that generational shift and teach that to our children going forward. It's an evolution. So we have to look at that as men, as fathers, as brothers. We have to change that mind process and go with a different mindset, a different direction.
Right. What about you, Tremayne? Is that outdated? You feel like it's outdated?
And, you know, I do believe that it's outdated. Nowadays, you know, we sat back, we had a president that when he came on the scene, he said, hey, you just grabbed a woman by her vagina. You got some money, grab that pudding, and they like it. Now you got money. Then you turn around, people are now mad because Pepe Le Pew is, he been sentenced, you know, chasing the cat. Why gotta be like that? Why must I chase the cat? I guess ain't nothing but the skunk in him. You know what I'm saying?
They took him off the air, yeah. Yeah,
they took him off. So the whole point is that, you know, we got to teach our young men that you just can't chase the cat.
Right.
Because that cat sometimes has fleas. Sometimes that cat has rabies, right, you know, and other things too. But we have to just we have to teach that our lives mean so much more than that. And that's something that's generational curse, where they used to have bucks, and that's all they want to do is try to breed the black man from woman to woman to have strong and bigger children. Right. And then next thing you know, now you know, we had great family dynamics to the 1970s. Then our families slid down when the economy fell down. Mm-hmm. And so then they had all those shows that was toxic, upon a whole lot of other things. But we have to rebuild and to show what it really is to be a man.
Gotcha. Jean, what's your take on that? Is that cliche is outdated, or you feel like it's still on point?
As far as men, I don't know. I grew up in an era where there was a lot of strange things going on. You know, you didn't talk to the man, you didn't approach daddy this kind of way, and it was this reverence. But I never wanted to raise my child like that, where he couldn't come and talk to me. And even though we don't communicate the way I would like us to now, I still like to teach him what you know, the right and wrong is, and about his aggression, where his aggression. I give him the scenarios on where aggression can take him and where it can keep him from, you know. So I just think you know, and if I see young boys that will listen to me and I could talk to, I try to tell them the same thing, understanding what this aggression is. Sometimes you are representing something that you may not understand what you're representing, even by dressing a certain way, speaking a certain way, behaving a certain way. Like if you're riding in your car, listening to your music and you're bopping all over the road, you know, a cop might think that you're not driving your car properly. You know what I mean? So just by understanding how you manage yourself, how you speak, and focus on that and become better. So that's what's important to me.
Cool. All right, fellas. Hey, let me go and take about 1 minute, 30 seconds to 1 minute. Hey, drop a nugget to the listeners, you know, something that you want to put out, you know, and just take 30 seconds to a minute, just drop a nugget. I'm gonna start with you, Pastor Tremayne, then we'll go with Tony, Jean. Y'all just follow their order.
One nugget I want to say: as a man thinketh in his heart, so is it. That's in Proverbs. And so as we think about ourselves, the things we put in us, we put garbage in, garbage comes out. So we want to put good things. We want to, as men, read good books, develop good positive relationships, aspire to achieve, and then inspire those that are around us to achieve. So that's what I want to say for my minute.
Thank you. Tony?
I like to leave you with a quote from Frederick Douglass. It said that it's easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men. So as we train a child up, we teach them the ways of that they should go. As Pastor Forbes had mentioned, and also as Mr. Allen has stated, if you work with your child and you teach your child and you pour into your child, you'll build a strong child rather than have to repair a broken man. So that's what toxic masculinity is. You know, it's a matter of repairing broken men,
Right.
but we want to build strong children.
Appreciate it, brother. Jean, let's finish up with you, brother.
I would say agree with the gentleman what they all said, and again, we must all push each other. I know sometimes we have single moms out there, and we have mothers that want to put their children in a better light or better situation. Get them around those men, those positive role models. Find uncles or 100 Black men, or find some organizations locally. We must do everything we can to say that thing, the elephant in the room. We must say it. Because I grew up around men who taught me you're supposed to have multiple girlfriends and all these kind of different scenarios. We got to break a lot of these stereotypes, and every chance we get to break one, we must break it, and also offer a new opportunity or some new empowerment to the youth and to the men.
I appreciate that, Gene. Hey, I appreciate you, each and every one of you, that sitting on the panel today. We're going to bring you back for a part 2. And man, this is awesome discussion today. And people, like you said, hey, follow these brothers on their platforms. I'm gonna share their information on my YouTube channel, once it's up. So with that being said, hey, have a good weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, this Easter weekend. And tune in next Saturday. You never know what we have in store for you. Peace. It's the Real Charlemagne signing out. Thanks.
Baby, now I got the flow, 'cause I know it from the start. Baby, when you broke my heart, that I had to come again and show you that I'd win. You lied to me. All those times I said that I love you, you lied to me. Yes, I tried, yes, I tried. You lied to me. Even though you knew I'd die for you, you lied to me. Yes, I cried, yes, I cried. Return of the man. Return of the man. Come on. Return of the man. Oh my God. You know that I've been there. Here I am. Return of the man. Once again. Return of the man. Top of the world. Return of the man. Watch my flow. You know that I've been there. Here I go. So I'm back up in the game. Running things to take my swing. Letting all the people know that I'm back to run the show. 'Cause what you did, you know was wrong, and all the nasty things you done. So baby, listen carefully while I sing my comeback song. You lied to me. She said she'd never turn on me. You lied to me. But you did, but you did.